Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
Every day I'm working on that case. Every day we're figuring something out. Every day we're talking to investigators. And that's essentially what Alex did on this case.
And that's the sad part, because whether it's a real lawsuit or something that you're just shooting to see if you can get some money, you can sue anybody for anything. But the sad thing about it is if a person loses their suing, nothing happened.
Let's move on now. The legal saga surrounding Sean Diddy Combs took a shocking turn when news broke that Tony Buzbee, the high-profile attorney spearheading the case, was stepping down.
I think, like I said, for me, I was going to ask y'all what your predictions is. For me, if Jay-Z is successful at what he's doing right now, this is going to set a principle for a lot of these type of cases.
She hasn't sort of retracted the allegation she made against Diddy, but according to this, she never made them against Jay-Z without the prodding of Buzbee. This is a pretty devastating document if it's true.
It's interesting now because Jay-Z obviously is going after Tony Buzbee and could decimate him because Jay-Z does have a lot of money. They were right about that.
That's right.
Picture this: a headline-grabbing lawyer with a larger-than-life persona, suddenly stepping away from one of the most explosive legal battles in recent memory. How does something like this even happen? And more importantly, what does it mean for the dozens of alleged victims who placed their faith in Buzbee's ability to bring justice?
Not do this alone. Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
The judge has ruled that the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male workers across state lines to take part in recorded performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence.
That's the unfortunate part. Whether a case is legitimate or someone's just trying to cash in, the reality is you can sue anyone for almost anything. And if the lawsuit doesn't hold up, well, nothing happens to the one who filed it.
So we've got actually some interesting stories. We're going to lead off with what's going on in that Jay-Z case, which we thought went away. We thought the woman who accused him of with Diddy after the VMAs, I believe back in 2000, had dismissed her case, and you thought it would just go away. It is not.
The news hit like a thunderclap. Tony Buzbee, known for his aggressive legal style and commanding presence in the courtroom, had taken on the responsibility of over 120 individuals, both men and women, who accused Diddy of shocking misconduct. For over a year, Buzbee had been the public face of this monumental case, regularly making headlines with fiery statements and serious claims.
Let's start with Jay-Z. So remember, the woman who sued as a Jane Doe dismissed her lawsuit with prejudice. She said, I will not be refiling this, but a dismissal with prejudice is just that. It's a document that says, I dismissed this lawsuit. It says nothing else. It doesn't say I lied about the claims. It doesn't say anything. It just says I dismissed the lawsuit.
And now, just as the trial neared, he was gone. According to court documents, Buzbee's abrupt withdrawal stemmed from a technicality that no one anticipated. The federal judge
Interesting, because, you know, obviously this civil suit was coming for a while.
Yep.
And there was some talk between Buzbee and Jay-Z's lawyers. I think both Buzbee and Jay-Z's lawyers are really alphas.
seeing the case revealed that Buzbee wasn't licensed to practice in the Southern District of New York, where the case was filed. Hard to believe, right? A small administrative slip turned into a major crisis. The judge wasn't having it and demanded an explanation, giving Buzbee a deadline to clarify why this hadn't been disclosed sooner. But rather than challenge the issue, Buzbee opted to step aside, calling it an oversight. In his letter to the court, he expressed regret over the distraction his status had caused, saying it diverted attention from the real goal.
Opens yourself up to some negligence claims. Again, I don't know if Jay-Z is going to go that far, but certainly I think it does open himself up to some negligence claims. Maybe that was part of the reason why he dismissed with prejudice. I don't know.
Justice for the victims. He pledged to correct the matter, but the damage had already been done. He was out. Though he assured the court that his legal team would continue representing the plaintiffs, the reality was clear. The captain had abandoned ship, leaving the rest of the crew to steer through stormy waters. I was going to ask you what your prediction is, because for me, if Jay-Z pulls off what he's doing, it could set a precedent for similar cases going forward. Buzbee's exit sent shockwaves through the legal team.
She
Walked away, got no money.
Got nothing.
Over.
And Jay-Z celebrated that, the fact that
We should say, and it was filed by the lawyer who has filed a slew of lawsuits.
He wasn't just another attorney. He was the architect, the strategist, the force with the clout and courage to take on a figure as powerful as Diddy. Without him, the prosecution appeared shaky, as if its foundation had been pulled out from beneath it. And Diddy's legal team? They pounced. She hasn't retracted her allegations against Diddy, but she never accused Jay-Z directly. This document, if accurate, is quite damaging. Now Jay-Z is targeting Buzbee with legal action, and given his resources, it could potentially crush Buzbee. Diddy's lawyers, who had been under pressure for months, saw this as a gift. They quickly painted Buzbee's departure as a sign.
Now, this particular defense attorney's reason for quitting wasn't really a reason at all, making his departure a lot more puzzling.
Period. Okay, so last hour when we left off, you had asked me, did Tony Buzbee respond to Jay-Z?
Yes.
And he did. So he responded to
Kind of a faltering case and suggested that the plaintiff's legal strategy was unraveling. You could almost see their smirks as they planned their next steps. With Buzbee gone, they saw their chance to exploit the chaos. Behind the scenes, sources close to Diddy's camp described the mood as celebratory. They believed Buzbee's exit could be a turning point, a moment when the momentum shifted in their favor. It was a much-needed morale boost after months.
He said, I did that not because he want to shake you down, but because you tried to scare my client, so she wants to come out swinging too. She's not backing down.
Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
Every day I'm working on that case. Every day we're figuring something out. Every day we're talking to investigators. And that's essentially what Alex did on this case.
And that's the sad part, because whether it's a real lawsuit or something that you're just shooting to see if you can get some money, you can sue anybody for anything. But the sad thing about it is if the person loses their suing, nothing happened.
And trial in May on trafficking and racketeering charges. He'll remain in custody until then. Diddy has pleaded not guilty to claims that he used his business to transport women and male workers across state lines for exploitative performances. If convicted, he could face life in prison. In the days that followed, reactions poured in. Legal experts debated what Buzbee's exit really meant. Some said it could hurt the prosecution, while others believed the strength of the evidence would still carry the case forward.